And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Ooh, hope you enjoyed that lovely Brutal OST as we have returned with our semifinals, with the semifinals of ESL Open Cup Asia 224. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets. Place your bets on who you believe will be the first to advance on to those grand finals. Will it be one Korean Zerg or the other? Up to you to decide. Up to you to place those bets. Best of luck, man. Best of luck. Predictions open. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of side Delta, we have our red Zerg player from South Korea representing Talent Esports. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Team Vitality. It is Solar. Here we go. Solar versus Dark, arguably the top two Zerg players in South Korea. Yeah, I think I would stand by that. The top two Zergs. Dark is number 1, Solar is number 2. I would say Shin number 3, maybe DRG number 4. So I would currently rank them. But yeah, they're the top two Zerg players in their respective region. And I would not be surprised if this goes to the ace match. I would not be surprised if this goes all the way to game number 3. Things are going to get wild between these two players. And yeah, I've yet to even try and predict how this series will unfold. We saw that Solar was very aggressive against Raynor. He was very aggressive and very all-in. I feel like the dynamic is going to shift against Dark. I feel like in this series, Dark is going to be the aggressor and Solar's going to have to be reacting instead, trying to keep up with what Dark has to present to him. We'll see though. We'll see how or who's going to be the aggressor, if not both. And then we end up in a clown fiesta. Like that's that's the ideal. It's going to be the ideal. For now, hatch gas pull from both players. Nothing crazy when it comes to the openers. We're loading into site Delta, a bit of a more defendable map, as we have a ramp leading into the natural, a bit of a feature that isn't in all maps, as it used to be. So a little bit more defendable, easier to wall off, but based on our openers, we should both be working towards our expansions. Both Solar and Dark should be working towards their third bases. Wings are moving out. Likewise, drones are also getting in position to expand. And so far, nice control here, Dark. Oh my god! Does come out better there. Does chase Solar back. Almost getting a link kill. Almost. Oh! Dark has to back off as well. Bit of a give and take. Bathing Nest has been thrown down for Dark. Has been thrown down, likewise so was Solar's. We have our third bases on the way. So far, mirrored builds between our players. Everything looking very standard so far. So far, so good. Likewise, we can see Solar trying to peel off some lings, trying to get a scout off. Dark able to keep up, able to zone him away. Keeping Solar in the dark. And behind this, we should just be droning, looking to saturate our third base, getting into some safety banelings. Really, my eyes are on the production tab to see if we invest into additional lings. Ooh, as both Solar and Dark, there we go. Roach Warrens are thrown down at standard timings here just before the 4-minute mark. Looks like we're easing off of Ling Bane and we're getting into Roach versus Roach. Okay. As I say that, maybe I spoke too soon. That's 16 lings on the way. Dark. My god. So we're just going to be flooding lings across the map here. I imagine to try to break that third base. Solar pulling back. Roach Warren is done and Dark, he is moving out. Now he's running up behind this. He's not all in. A couple of lings, they do slip into the main. Get a full scout, confirming any additional gases, confirming the lair timing. But Solar is in position with his banelings. Ooh, as Dark's gonna be morphing in banelings into the main base. Bold move. He's crazy. Bold move here by Dark, and Solar, he does end up catching these drones. Oh, sorry, these banelings. Does catch them. One of them goes down. Dark, he collapses into the third base. Ooh. Gets one drone, I believe, but only one. Pulls back. And Solar defends. Solar, he defends. He gets away with his roaches. They're going to be pushing Dark back. So far, so good here by Solar. Across the map, Solar going for his own counter. Banelings! Let's go, we waddle in, and Dark, does he pay attention? Does he recognize it? He does not. Pulls away just in time. 2 drones go down. That could have been so much worse. Phew. Dark also defends. The drones are quite low, but they're going to be able to regenerate their HP. Gonna be okay for now. As Dark, he did invest into quite a lot of links, so he has a lot of catching up to do. He's droning up. Solar diving into the main, gets one more drone. Barely focuses down one of those drones. As they didn't know they were weakened up, they were softened up from earlier. And now the game is going to calm down. After that moment of intensity, we are going to be calming things down, taking our gases, getting into +1 range, into roach speed as well. Layer is done for both players. And we are indeed getting into roach v roach. Now, Dark did go into faster Overlord speed. As we can see here, with that faster speed, he's going to be getting another scout off. Very important for this Overseer scout, because for all he knows, it could be a lair. There could be a lair, there could be an infestation bit, it could be a Hydra den, there could be a higher form of tech. So both players being as attentive as they can be, scouting each other, making sure that it is indeed roach v roach. On top of that, with with Overlord speed, Dropper Lords. Dropper Lords are also on the way. Ooh, that's going to be Banelings. Okay, we have a Baneling drop on the right-hand side. We have a Roach drop on the left. I believe the Overseer did get eyes on the Overlord, or the Dropper Lord. Yeah, Solar, he sees, he knows. And he's going for his own Dropper Lord harass as well. Okay. The era of, I guess, Banelings has come and gone, so Dark is going to be knocking that down to make it a little bit easier to rotate between spaces. Overlord tries to go in, but it is focused down. Good positioning there by Solar. Dark has got one more Dropper Lord, poised to go into the main. Meanwhile, Solar doing the same. Diving into the main base as well. Dark actually pivoting away into the third. Roaches are dropped. We're going to be able to focus down a couple of drones. We get one, we get two. 2 drones go down. At the same time, Solar, he's in the main base. Is in the main. No reaction here to Dark, or delayed reaction. We can pop off. And pop off here. Here we go. The roaches, they do activate. They head into the main. Drones are going down. Dark, he has to back off. Solar was in position. Solar, he's wreaking havoc, getting a lot of drone kills. 5 drones go down. We save every single roach we pick up. We get the hell out of there. And here comes the main army of Solar. Pulling back for a moment. Shutting down that Dropper Lord. Solar, he defends, he attacks. And he's knocking down these rocks, getting ready. He's maxed out. Again, there's a reason why Solar, he has some of the best ZvZ in the world. There's a reason why he was dubbed the Sterile Slayer. For a long time, he was like the only one to reliably defeat and knock down Sterile in Premier events. That was last year, for those who weren't here for it. Here we go, Solar trying to force his way in. Does get the better angle here on top of the high ground, on top of the ramp. The Vials, though. Vials do force Solar back. But with reinforcements, Solar, does he have enough? Oh, he barely does not. Well, has to back off. Darky holds. At the same time, a Roach counterattack getting on top of the 4th base. Very nicely done. That does delay reinforcements. Tunneling force is done here for both players. Dark forcing Solar to turn around. At the same time, Solar also diving in towards that natural. But it looks like Dark has eyes on this. Yeah, he did see those roaches earlier. Chasing them down. Yeah, Overseer's on the way in. Yeah, these roaches, they do not manage to escape the eyes of Dark. He sees everything. Shuts them down. Infestation bit's on the way. Dark and Solar getting up to 4 base saturation. With that infestation bit, that's going to be the start of Hive Tech for Hydras and Lurkers. We're getting ready for the late game of ZvZ. Right now, Roach v Roach is kind of dominating this matchup, but soon it's going to be about the lurkers. I mean, I say soon, we're working towards it. Speaking of, there's that Hydra Den. Again, Darky's getting ready for a lurker switch. For a lurker transition. He's thinking about it. Same time, does on burrow in the 4th base. Drones are going down. Likewise, Solo also in the 4th base of Dark, but Dark is in position. Dark, he was ready for the harassment, ready for the roaches. Solo was not. So a much better trade there for Dark. Getting how many? 4 roach kills. Or even, sorry, 9 roach kills. Losing 4 across the map. Losing 5. 6. Bleeds out a couple of roaches. Interesting. So as Dark is getting ready for lurker tech, Solar is going for a Spire. Going for mutas instead. Oh, I'm not so fond of that. Mutas are really good in Roach v Roach, but it's too late. Because the Hydra Den is done, Dark already has access to anti-air. And there's that Lurker Den. Lurker Den is on the way. And Dark, with the non-stop harassment, he gets a kill. Gets a kill on the 4. Shuts down the hatchery. He's pulling Solar apart. And when it comes to the late game, in ZvZ Dark, he has some of the best late game ZvZ in the world. I would say top 2 alongside several. We're getting there. And just pulling Solar apart. Spinecrawler goes down. Drones as well. We have detection. The burrow doesn't save them. Only a handful do survive. And Solar, as he's getting into his 12 mutas, we already have Hydras coming out. Spores are being thrown down, looking at our vision. Dark, yeah, he saw the Spire. He knows. He's getting ready for it. And Dark, he just has the better army. Just has a superior army. And the problem is that Solar, he hasn't been able to know. My apologies, he does know. He has the drop load in the main base. He does see the tech. He's going to be relying so much on these mutas. Solar rotating around. Lurkers are in production. Dark is supply blocked. He's going to get supply block for a moment. Quite a supply block, actually. Yeah, but Lurkers are getting in position. Yeah, the ground army is going to be stopped. These mutas, they have done quite well for themselves, picking up overlords, roaches here and there. No economic damage yet. And you can see that Solar, he's remaxing on more Roach Ravager. So his goal is to try to break Dark before the Lurker count gets out of hand. With a low Lurker count, Ravagers can deal with them. You can bile them down, you can force the unburrow. Like, Solar has a chance before we hit critical mass, and there we go, 1 Lurker goes down. Do bleed out a lot. Another Lurker gets picked up. Good biles there from Solar. Does have to pull back. At the same time, ooh, we throw away the mutas. Aye. We dip in between the bases. That's what I was worried about. We had plenty of Hydras. Looking at the units tab, 0 mutas remain. That was how many? 12 mutas. That was expensive. Mutas are not cheap. So 12 mutas go down for only a handful of roaches and overlords. I was praising the muta harass earlier, but I was assuming they would get even more done. That was not the case. As you can see, Solo trying to force his way in. Gets another lurker. He is zoning the army away. 1, 2, 3 lurkers go down. Very nicely done, but there's still 1 more lurker behind this. Files are connecting. Solar, he's pushing through. He's barely pushing through. There's still 1 lurker left. Does reposition. And Solar does have that supply lead, but more lurkers, they barely morph in. They have arrived. And with these lurkers, we do barely hold on. GG gets called. Dark, he survives, he holds, and he takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Dark will take game number 1. And with that, does take a lead in the series, and we're getting ready for game number 2. Let's go. That wasn't a short break. It was an even shorter break. I call shenanigans. Oh, no. Solar season several +1 armor, roachling all-ins. It wasn't just that. If you remember, because it was Solar versus Serral at not just the premier events, but in WTL as well. In WTL, and it was all-ins, but it wasn't just a +1 armor Ling Roach all-in. If you do remember. But it was mainly aggression, and it was mainly different variations of all-in that just kept catching Serral off guard. I remember there was even one, I remember it was in WTL, where Solar faked an all-in and Serral overreacted, and Solo just macroed. that also happened quite a lot as well. Good times, as we're settling into our next game and spawning, oh my god, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Crimson Court, going for a 12 pool. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Talon Esports, leading the series 1-0, going for a 12 pool. It is Dark. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Blue Zerg player, representing Team Vitality. It is Solar. It has nothing in common, I think it means, he has nothing in common with Solar, not so good mid-game to late-game player. I would say that Solar thrives in the mid-game more than anything, is what I would say, but Dark, he thrives even more in the late game. Again, like Dark, he has some insane late-game ZvZ, even was able to flex that against Raynor 2 weeks ago. But for now, it is a 12 pool. Now, this is not an all-in. This is not the 12 pool variation that Raynor did do last week. If you remember, Raynor, he just 12 pooled every game against Dark and killed him with a 12 pool drone pool. This is just a regular, more macro-oriented 12 pool. So the way this works is that Dark should be droning after this wave of Lings, should be macroing and saturating his bases. These Lings, as they move out across the map, their goal is to get some drone kills. Their goal is to try to out-micro Solar. Now, Solar needs to save this hatchery. This hatchery cannot be killed. Solar has to pull the boys, pull down here towards the low ground, and drone drill his heart out and try to save as many drones as possible while he defends. Hatchery's under fire. Boys are being pulled. And again, in this defense, Solar cannot lose drones, or he has to minimize drone losses. We have our little dance. Have our micro battle here between Dark and Solar. Good stutter stepping out of Dark. Oh my god, getting so much damage onto the hatchery. The hatchery, it's gonna go down. It's so low. It is so very low, opting to go for the hatchery. He commits. He commits, and can he get it? Oh, it's gonna be close. And it looks like he barely does get a kill. The hatchery goes down. Big pick off. And so much lost mine time. Such a big commitment there by Solar. He does not save his base. But now it's time to counterattack. Now the turns have tabled. Dark, he has to defend, he has to survive, and Solar has to get some damage done. And again, Dark, he chose not to go for drone kills. He was very meticulous in his control there. Very nice stutter stepping out of Dark. Did focus on the hatchery. Back at home, he's got a queen. He's got 2 queens. He's fine. He's perfectly fine. With 2 queens, we can defend. We are safe and sound. And Dark is droning, and Dark has a massive lead. You may look at this and think, Solar, he's up in drones. True, but Solar also wasn't droning for as long. And on top of that, Solar, he's going to be oversaturated on one base, waiting for his natural, his long distance mining even at his natural, whereas Dark can freely mine from his natural instead. So good start here by Dark. You see Solar just trying to dance with the army, dance with the Lings, trading as best he can, but regardless, Dark, he will defend, and he will hold. And the game is going to settle down into a longer game. I'm curious if Solar's going to skip his Bailey Nest. I'm curious if he's going to play 2-base Roach from here, just because of the state of the game. And speaking of 2-base Roach, yep, we have, oh, interesting. We have a lair on the way. Evo Chamber in the main. We're not using the Evo Chamber to wall off, but there's that Roach Warren at that natural. So it is 2-base Roach. Again, this makes a lot of sense. Just because of Solar's deficit, he's skipping Ling speed. Because he knows he's behind, he's skipping Ling speed, and he's playing 2-base Roach. The downside here is that Solar's going to be stuck on 2 bases. and Dark is going to be free to take a third. Speaking of, there's that third. So Dark will have an economic advantage over Solar. Solar could decide to go for a later third or can go for a 2-base all-in. He has 2-base all-in potential here with this setup. With a faster lair, leads into really fast roach speed. So Dark has to be careful. Right now, there's a lot of pressure on Dark, actually, to scout and confirm whether or not Solar drones. Solar, he's taking a third base. Oh, this is risky. This is greedy, actually. Very greedy here. Going for a sword already. Yeah, forced to cancel. Lings have been revealed. Lings, they arrive as well. Very greedy out of Solar. He gets punished for it. Usually, when you play 2-base roach, you can't expand until you have roaches. Until you have like a solid roach force to defend. So Dark, so quick to punish. Lings, they do dive in. Ling speed is finishing up in a couple of seconds. And Solar, he's cutting workers at 43. Still in 2 bases, amassing roaches. Roach speed is almost halfway done. And here we go for the surround. Dark collapsing on these roaches. Good stutter stepping here out of Solar. He avoids the surround, only 1 roach goes down. We go for the queen, but the queen survives as well. That was not worth it for Dark. A little bit too ambitious, and we're spreading creep. Oh. Okay, not quite a creep highway, just a single overlord spreading creep to expand and take a third. Behind this, Dark hasn't been droning, by the way. I spoke about how because Dark can take the center base, he can take an economic lead, but he has not been droning. Dark, he's amassing roaches, he's amassing lings. Dark, he's going for his own push, which is scary because he doesn't need to. Like, Dark, we can just drone. We could have just droned up and saturated on 3 bases and gotten into our own lair, but this is a hatch tech all-in out of Dark. It's Ling Roach with +1 carapace. Dark, he's putting it all on the line. And Solar, he does have vision of the... doesn't have vision of the base, actually. Didn't confirm saturation. If Solar drones, he's going to be in trouble. But Solar, he's making a lot of roaches. Yeah, Solar just going to be taking advantage of that gas geyser. Army's pushing in. Solar, he is not droned. Look at the army sizes. He has 28 roaches. That's a lot of roaches. And Dark is going for just Ling Ravager. His goal here, so the way this army works for Dark, he wants to surround and bile. He wants to surround the army and just bile it down. He's going for the surround. He's trying to. And he does look down the roaches. Biles, they will connect. Big connections here on the roaches. A very efficient trade. Cleans up half of the army, but only half. Dark has to back up. Going for another surround. And he locks down the army for a second time. Oh, he's trying to. Oh, the biles. They miss. This time the biles will not connect. Dark has to be careful, very careful. This is a very fragile army here for Dark. As there we go, he does collapse on the army. Shuts down the queens. And Dark, he barely is breaking through. We have reinforcements on the way. Roaches are amassing. Dark piling down those eggs. GG gets called. He barely has enough. The all-in works. And Dark will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the grand finals. Whew, GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Dark as he does take the series 2-0, but that was a close one. Again, that style, going for Ling Ravager, going for the +1 carapace all-in like that, it is so risky. If Dark didn't get the surround, if he didn't lock down that army the first time, then Solar wins the fight. Solar, he's going to be able to, he would have been able to stutter step back towards his natural, shave off those Lings, and just outscale Dark as the game progressed with just a higher roach count overall. It was a very risky style out of Dark, but he was able to get the surround, lock down the initial army, and was able to snowball from there. GG, well played. Congratulations, Dark advances on to the grand finals. Solar is eliminated from the tournament. GG. GG. And now we need a moment here to have a look at the bracket and figure out where we are. Where exactly are we? Exclamation mark B in the